What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Manin's Minute. So let's talk about something that's very popular in witchcraft and in Wicca. Let's talk about the circle. So this is one of those things that people see in movies and immediately, they roll their eyes or something. You know what I'm talking about. The chalk circle on the floor, candles at the quarters, someone chanting in Latin, and half the internet thinks it's either dramatic nonsense or some kind of fantasy prop. But we in witches don't work in a circle because it looks cool. We work in a circle because it does something. Actually, it does three things. And once you understand those three things, it stops being theatrical and starts making sense. So the first thing we'll talk about is protection. Now, when I say protection, don't immediately jump to horror movie demons, scratching at an invisible wall, for instance. That's not what I'm talking about. Although, yes, in some traditions, the circle is absolutely considered a barrier. Let's look at this a little deeper. When you cast a circle, what you're really doing, you're defining space. You're saying this area right here is different. It's not the living room anymore. It's not the backyard. It's not the garage. In my case, it's now sacred space, and that act alone changes things. Humans respond to boundaries, always have. A fence marks property, a door marks entry, a uniform marks authority. When you draw a circle, physically or energetically, you're marking a boundary between ordinary and the intentional. That boundary protects your focus, it protects your ritual from random distraction, it protects your energy from just bleeding out into the room. And yes, in traditional witchcraft and ceremonial magic, there's also a protective barrier against unwanted influences. In systems like the old grimoires, think the Key of Solomon style operations, the magician stood inside a consecrated circle while calling forces into a triangle outside of it. Why? Because they understood containment. They understood that when you stir things up, you don't just fling the doors open and hope for the best. Even in initiatory Wicca, Gardnerian, Alexandrian, and other British traditional forms, the circle is cast as a shield. It is sealed, it is guarded, and it is not casual. And this is important. Protection doesn't mean fear, it means wisdom. If you're going to light a fire, you build a fire pit. Same idea. Now the second purpose, and this is the one people really struggle with, the circle is a world between the worlds. Some call it the womb of the goddess. When you cast a circle, you're stepping out of linear space and time. For that period, you're no longer just Bill standing in a room or Sarah in her apartment. You're standing in ritual space, and ritual space operates differently. Inside the circle, you're not bound by everyday roles. You're a priest, priestess, witch, or a magician. You're interacting with archetypes, deities, ancestors, forces of nature, however you understand them. It's like building a temporary temple that exists slightly sideways from reality, not floating in another dimension, not disappearing from Earth, just the vibrations slightly shifted. If you've ever walked into a cathedral, a mosque, a temple, even a courtroom and felt that subtle shift in atmosphere, you already understand this concept. The air feels different, your behavior adjusts, your mind becomes more alert. The circle does that intentionally. In older magical societies, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, for example, temple space was carefully arranged. Directions mattered, symbols mattered. The layout created a microcosm of the universe. When you stepped into it, you stepped into a symbolic map of existence. It's really that way in Gardnerian witchcraft as well. The circle is our version of that map. It represents the cosmos, the four directions, the elements, the turning of the seasons, birth, death, rebirth, all of it enclosed in one simple shape. And why a circle? Because a circle has no beginning and no end. It is continuous. It reflects the cycles of nature, the wheel of the year, the movement of the sun and moon. It is the simplistic geometric form that expresses eternity. Most everything in nature runs in cycles. So when we say world between the worlds, what we're really saying is this. Inside that boundary, we're participating in something timeless. Hence, it is bad form to bring a clock or watch into circle with you. Time shouldn't really matter in circle. Time brings stress, and circle should be stress-free. Now, the third purpose, and this one is on the more practical side of things, the circle is a container to raise energy. Think about this logically. If you're building emotional intensity, chanting, moving, visualizing, calling upon forces, where does that energy go? If there's no container, it disperses. It's like trying to fill a balloon with a hole in the rubber. It just escapes. The circle acts like the rubber of the balloon. It holds the charge. When covens work together, the energy builds gradually. You feel it rise. It becomes thick, tangible, almost electric. That's not imagination or willy-nilly. That's true and accurate focused group intention building in a defined and given space. In ceremonial lodges and in Rosicrucian groups and older mystery schools, ritual chambers were enclosed for this same reason. Containment increases intensity. Even in ancient temple architecture, circular or domed ceilings were often used to amplify sound and vibration. Chanting inside those spaces wasn't random design. It was acoustics working with intention. The Druids, though we don't have a full blueprint of their rites, worked within stone circles. And you don't drag multi-ton stones into a ring for decoration. That's structure, that's boundary, that's sacred enclosure. Energy builds better when it has edges and boundaries. And here's something else people don't talk about enough. In fact, I never see it or hear it amongst the masses. The circle also creates equality. When you stand in a circle, no one is at the front, no one is in the back. Everyone faces the center. Everyone participates. That shape naturally removes hierarchy in the physical sense, even when roles exist ritually. That matters. Now, let me be very clear about this. You don't have to physically draw a circle with chalk every time you pray, meditate, or do spell work. A solitary witch can cast mentally. A coven may cast formally. Some traditions require exact wording, others are fluid. But the principle remains the same. Boundary, sacred shift, containment. Those three things are not superstition or fluff bunny nonsense. They are psychology, symbolism, and energy management wrapped into one action. And let's be real, humans have been doing versions of this for thousands of years. Tribal dances around a fire, circle. Medieval magicians inscribing protective rings, circle. Masonic lodges arranged in defined ritual geometry, circle logic. Every modern support group sits in circles. Why? Because it changes the dynamic. The circle is one of the oldest tools we have, not because it's dramatic, but because it works. So why do witches work in circles? We don't need it in the way a superstition needs a charm. We use it because it defines space, shifts awareness, and holds power. And that's not fluffy fantasy, that's structure and responsibility. And that structure is what turns random action into ritual.